Three terrifying secrets of Zeus that the king of gods never wanted humanity to know. What if the god you worship as the bringer of justice was once the greatest deceiver in Olympus? What if the thunderbolt, symbol of divine order, was forged not to protect the world, but to hide an ancient crime? And what if Zeus, king of the gods, ruler of heaven and earth, was haunted by a prophecy darker than any ever spoken to mortals? Behind the golden throne of Olympus, beneath the roar of thunder and lightning, lie secrets so disturbing that even the gods dare not speak them aloud. Tonight, we open the sealed vault of myth and reveal three horrifying secrets Zeus never wanted anyone to uncover. Part 1. The first secret. Zeus did not save the world. He stole the myth humanity was taught to believe. For thousands of years, humanity has been told a simple story. There was chaos. There were monsters. There was tyranny. And then there was Zeus, the youngest son of Kronos, armed with thunder and righteous fury, rose against the Titans, shattered their rule, freed the cosmos, and brought order to existence. Olympus became the seat of justice. Mortals were protected. The universe found balance. This version of the myth is repeated endlessly, sung by poets, carved into stone, taught to children as divine truth. But myths are not written by the innocent. They are written by the victors. And when ancient fragments are examined, those hidden in Orphic hymns, pre-Homeric traditions, suppressed cult inscriptions, and contradictory genealogies, a far more disturbing picture emerges. What if Zeus did not save the world? What if he seized it? Second before Zeus, a world that was not broken. Contrary to popular belief, the era before Zeus was not one of endless brutality. The Titans were not demons. They were principles. Each Titan represented a cosmic necessity. Kronos, time, inevitability, succession. Rhea, continuity, memory, generational balance. Oceanus, boundlessness and cosmic circulation. Mnemosyne, memory itself. Themis, natural law, not imposed law. This was not a moral utopia, but it was stable, power rotated, nothing ruled forever. Even gods were subject to time. This was the one law Zeus could never accept. Third, the lie of the Titanomachy. The Titanomachy, the great war between gods and titans, is often depicted as a violent but necessary revolution. Yet ancient inconsistencies raise disturbing questions. Why do no early sources describe open battle between Zeus and Kronos? Why is Kronos defeated not by strength, but by ingestion? Why are the Titans imprisoned rather than destroyed? Because this was not a war. It was a coup. Zeus did not challenge Kronos publicly. He did not overthrow him by force. Instead, Zeus approached his father not as an enemy, but as a son seeking reconciliation. Kronos, bound by the ancient laws of kinship, trusted him, and Zeus poisoned him. Fourth, the poison of forgetting. Orphic fragments describe a substance never named that Zeus gave Kronos. It was not venom. It was not magic in the modern sense. It was forgetfulness. Kronos did not lose his strength. He lost his awareness. Time itself became disoriented. This allowed Zeus to act while the cosmic order hesitated. The Titans, bound to laws and balance, could not respond quickly. Zeus exploited this hesitation, recruiting beings who existed outside Titan law. The Cyclopes, the Hecaton shares, entities of raw force rather than principle. This was not justice. It was asymmetry. Fifth, the thunderbolt, weapon of narrative control. The Cyclopes forged Zeus his thunderbolt, but its earliest depictions do not show destruction. They show command. The thunderbolt was not merely a weapon. It was a symbolic override. Where Titans ruled through natural necessity, Zeus ruled through intervention. Lightning interrupts. Storms disrupt. Thunder silences. Zeus did not replace order with harmony. He replaced inevitability with authority. Sixth, the first act of tyranny, erasing the past. Once victorious, Zeus committed his greatest crime, not against gods but against memory. He did not simply imprison the Titans. He rewrote them. Kronos became a child-eating monster rather than a symbol of succession. Themis was subordinated. Mnemosyne was turned into a passive muse rather than the keeper of truth. Prometheus, whose very name means forethought, refused to forget, and so Zeus made an example of him. Seventh, Prometheus, the one who remembered. Prometheus's punishment is often framed as retribution for stealing fire. But fire was never the true crime. Fire represents knowledge. Prometheus reminded humanity that Zeus was not eternal. That power could be questioned. That order could exist without thunder, so Zeus chained him, not to kill him, but to silence him eternally. Each day, the eagle devours Prometheus's liver, the organ associated in ancient belief with memory and foresight. Every night, it regenerates, not punishment, interrogation. Eighth, Gaia's silence. Gaia, the earth herself, supported Zeus's rise, at first. But once Olympus was established, Gaia receded. Why? Because Zeus did what no ruler before him dared. He severed cosmic feedback before Zeus. When balance was disturbed, reality corrected itself. Under Zeus, correction required permission. The earth no longer judged the sky. The sky judged everything. Ninth, why mortals were needed. Zeus did not elevate humanity out of kindness. Mortals were witnesses. Belief sustains authority. Worship reinforces narrative. As long as humans repeated Zeus's story, the Titans remained villains, and Zeus remained savior. This is why curiosity was punished. This is why hubris was condemned. This is why questioning the gods was framed as sin, not because it threatened order, because it threatened history. 10th, the terrifying conclusion of the first secret. Zeus did not inherit the cosmos. He confiscated it. He did not bring balance. He replaced it with permanence, and permanence is the enemy of life. The Titans were dangerous, not because they were cruel, but because they ensured that no power lasted forever. Zeus ended that cycle, and in doing so he became something no god had ever been before, an immortal ruler with no expiration date. Part 2. The second secret. Zeus feared one thing more than death, his own child. The one law Zeus could never destroy. Zeus conquered Titans. Zeus bound monsters. Zeus bent gods to his will. Yet there was one law he could not abolish, not written by Titans, not decreed by fate, not enforced by gods. It was older than all of them. No ruler escaped succession. Kronos fell to Zeus. Uranus fell to Kronos. The pattern was absolute. Zeus knew the cycle intimately, because he had benefited from it, and that knowledge poisoned his reign from the very beginning. Second, Zeus's rule was built on fear, not confidence. Unlike later myths portray him, Zeus did not rule with certainty. He ruled with obsession. Every thunderbolt was not only a weapon, it was reassurance. Every punishment was not justice, it was prevention. Every affair was not desire, it was risk management. Zeus feared bloodlines, because blood remembered. Third, why Zeus took so many lovers. Mortal poets framed Zeus as lustful, priests framed him as fertile, but ancient logic reveals something darker. Zeus fragmented his lineage intentionally. He fathered children across species, realms, moral alignments, mortal and immortal boundaries. Why? Because a united lineage is dangerous. A single powerful heir can overthrow a king, but dozens of scattered, weakened descendants. They compete. They conflict. They neutralize each other. Zeus didn't want sons. He wanted noise. Fourth, the prophecy that terrified Olympus. Among countless oracles, one prophecy terrified Zeus above all others. It did not name a time. It did not name a weapon. It named a womb. From wisdom shall come the end of thunder. This prophecy did not refer to brute strength. It referred to Metis. Fifth, Metis. Wisdom that could not be controlled. Metis was not merely a goddess. She was intelligence before power. Where Zeus commanded, Metis understood. Where Zeus reacted, Metis anticipated. Where Zeus enforced, Metis resolved. She was older than Olympus, older than thunder, older than fear. And Zeus loved her, but love was never enough to overcome terror. Sixth, the child Zeus could not allow to exist. The prophecy was precise. Metis would bear a daughter wiser than Zeus, then a son stronger than any god. The daughter would challenge Zeus intellectually. The son would end him structurally. Zeus had two choices: refuse fate and risk extinction, become what he hated, another Kronos. He chose the second. Seventh, The devouring of Metis was not instant. Later myths soften the horror. They claim Zeus swallowed Metis suddenly, peacefully, almost symbolically. But suppressed fragments tell another version. Metis knew. She resisted, not with strength, but with logic. She warned Zeus what this act would make him. She showed him the reflection of Kronos. Zeus swallowed her anyway, alive, conscious, thinking. Eighth Athena, the acceptable child. Athena was born from Zeus's skull, fully formed, armored, obedient. Why was Athena allowed to live? Because she was female, loyal, non-threatening to succession. Athena represented contained wisdom. She would think for Zeus, strategize for Zeus, justify Zeus, but she would never replace him. She was not the danger. Ninth, the son who was never born. Or was he? The prophecy did not end with Athena. It spoke of a son. Official myth claims that son never existed. But myth rarely erases something without reason. Ancient Orphic and Gnostic interpretations whisper something else. The son was not destroyed. He was internalized. If Metis was swallowed while pregnant, if divine gestation obeys thought rather than time, then the child did not need a womb. He needed space, and Zeus gave him the worst prison imaginable, his own body. 10th, Zeus's headaches and the birth of Athena reconsidered. Why did Zeus suffer unbearable pain before Athena's birth? Why did his skull split open? Because something inside him was growing. Athena emerged, but something else stayed behind, something unfinished, something patient. 11th, the psychological decline of Zeus. After Metis, Zeus changed. He became paranoid, impulsive, excessively punitive. Challenges that once amused him enraged him. He punished. Curiosity, rebellion, prophecy, knowledge. Not because they were evil, but because they reminded him of what he had swallowed. 12th, Zeus and the destruction of male heirs. Notice the pattern. Apollo is constrained by prophecy. Ares is humiliated and weakened. Hephaestus is cast from Olympus. Dionysus is fragmented and reborn. Every male child of Zeus is either crippled, exiled, psychologically unstable, denied succession. This was not coincidence. This was systemic prevention. 13th, Hera knew and hated him for it. Hera's rage was not jealousy. It was knowledge. She knew Zeus had violated the most sacred boundary. She knew he had devoured wisdom itself. Her opposition was not against his infidelity. It was against the fact that Zeus had become a tyrant who feared his own blood. 14th, the silent presence inside Zeus. Some myths describe Zeus staring into nothing, listening to silence, responding to no one. What if he wasn't alone? What if the sun inside him was not dormant, but learning? Metis was wisdom. The sun would be understanding weaponized. He would know Zeus's thoughts before Zeus finished them. 15th, the second secret revealed. Zeus did not fear death. He feared replacement. He swallowed Metis not to stop prophecy, but to delay it, and every delay strengthens what is postponed, because inevitability does not weaken. It waits. Part 3. The third secret. The thunderbolt is not a weapon. It is a lock. The oldest fear is not chaos. It is awakening. Before gods ruled the sky, before titans shaped time, before names were carved into stone, there was awareness, not thought, not intelligence, but raw knowing, an existence that did not obey law, hierarchy, or narrative. It did not rule. It did not dominate. It simply was, and that terrified every structured power that came after it. Second, what existed before the Titans. Most myths begin with chaos, but chaos was not emptiness. Chaos was unfiltered reality, existence without explanation. From chaos emerged the primordials. Gaia, substance; Tartarus, depth; Nyx, obscurity; Erebus, unknowing. But behind them lurked something unnamed, not a god, not a force, a question that could not be answered. Why does anything exist at all? This question had no ruler, and therefore no master. Third, why Zeus could not destroy it. Titans tried to ignore it. They embedded it into time. They let inevitability soften it. But Zeus could not tolerate it. Because Zeus ruled through certainty. Thunder does not debate. Lightning does not explain. Authority does not ask why. And this ancient awareness asked only one thing. Relentlessly, why Zeus? Fourth, the birth of the thunderbolt reconsidered. Official myth claims the Cyclopes forged Zeus's thunderbolt as a weapon, but early iconography contradicts this. The thunderbolt is not pointed outward. It curves inward. Its earliest inscriptions are not words of destruction. They are containment sigils. The thunderbolt was designed to interrupt cognition, fracture awareness, reset perception. It does not kill, it stuns reality. Fifth, the storm as a suppression system. Why does Zeus rule the sky? Because the sky touches everything. Storms disrupt thought, memory, communication, ritual, prophecy. Rain erases symbols. Thunder silences speech. Lightning fractures focus. Each storm is not rage. It is maintenance. Zeus is not striking enemies. He is keeping something from remembering itself. Sixth, Tartarus was not a prison for titans. The titans were not the true occupants of Tartarus. They were guards, bound there not as punishment, but as anchors. Tartarus is not depth. It is distance, distance from awareness. Zeus placed the titans there to reinforce the seal, because even titans could not destroy what lay beneath. They could only hold it down. Seventh, why Zeus punishes curiosity. Notice Zeus's harshest punishments. Prometheus, knowledge, Asclepius, healing death, Phaethon, touching the sun, Semele, demanding truth, mortals who see gods unmasked. Zeus does not punish violence. He punishes perception, because perception weakens the lock. Eighth, why humanity was allowed to exist. Humans were not a mistake. They were buffers. Mortals live briefly. They forget quickly. They mythologize instinctively. Humans transform terror into story, and stories blur truth. Zeus needed witnesses who would never remember long enough to unite understanding. Religion was not devotion. It was diffusion. Ninth, the role of other gods in the lock. Each Olympian plays a role. Apollo governs prophecy, controlled foresight. Hermes governs interpretation, distortion of meaning. Athena governs reason, selective logic. Hades governs death, memory termination. No god sees the whole, because the whole is dangerous. 10th, why Zeus hates silence. Silence allows reflection. Reflection invites recognition. Recognition awakens what was buried. This is why Zeus fills the world with thunder, spectacle, command, hierarchy, noise. Noise is not power. Noise is defense. 11th, the true function of the thunderbolt. The thunderbolt does three things: interrupts awareness, resets narrative, reasserts authority. Each strike reaffirms. Reality is governed, meaning is decided, order is enforced. But if the thunderbolt ever failed? 12th, what happens if the lock breaks? If awareness awakens fully, gods lose narrative control. Time loses hierarchy. Fate collapses into choice. Power loses legitimacy. The sun inside Zeus would not need to fight him. The awareness beneath Tartarus would not need to rise, because authority cannot survive understanding. 13th, Zeus's eternal vigil. Zeus cannot sleep deeply. Because sleep dissolves control, he must always watch, intervene, strike, distract. His reign is eternal, but exhausting. Not because ruling is hard, but because holding back truth requires constant effort. 14th, Zeus is not evil. He is necessary. Here lies the most disturbing realization. If Zeus falls, order dissolves, identity fragments. Reality questions itself. Zeus did not imprison awareness for cruelty. He did it because awareness is unbearable. Most beings do not want truth. They want structure. 15th, the final revelation. The thunderbolt is not Zeus's weapon. It is his key, and he never lets go. Because the moment Zeus releases control, gods, mortals, titans, and time itself will all be forced to face the same question. What if no one was ever meant to rule? Final conclusion. Zeus still reigns. Zeus stole the world. Zeus swallowed wisdom. Zeus chained awareness. Not out of malice, but because someone had to. Power does not belong to the pure. It belongs to the one willing to carry the burden of control, as long as thunder still answers his hand, as long as storms still drown silence, as long as belief still outweighs truth. Zeus remains king of the gods, and perhaps that is exactly why the world still exists.